Hey everybody, it's Charlie the PA grain farmer here in sunny western Pennsylvania. It's Tuesday, February the 15th, day after Valentine's Day, and I'm coming to you here from the Red Shed. I thought I'd do something a little bit different today with this video. I've been doing a number of videos so far on equipment. I did a little bit on fixing my 40 John Deere 4400 combine, things like that, hauling some hay. And just last week I did a video on one of my tractors, and I still have a couple more tractors and things, other kinds of equipment to do. But I had a number of my viewers that seemed to be interested in the Red Shed itself. There are some people that are looking to build one, and they want to have some ideas. And I knew that was very helpful to me whenever I was building this, was getting ideas from other people on what worked and what didn't. So I thought I'd do a video on the Red Shed itself. I'm not doing this because I think it's some kind of showpiece or that I set it up the right way inside. I'm just showing you what I did, and what I did worked for me. It may not be the right thing to do, but on the other hand, it might also give you some ideas. I built this Red Shed, or I should say I had it built back in August of 2018. I'm going to try to insert a picture here, an aerial photograph from the 1980s of what the area around the buildings used to look like, but it was different. Right about the place where we're standing right now, there were 2-wire corn cribs, and at the site of the Red Shed itself, there was an old building, which I think was at one time the original horse stable, kind of shaped like our bank barn, but not as big, and it had lean-tos on each side. So each of the 3 sides, other than the front facing us right now, and it just got to the point, by the 20 teens, that I just couldn't do anything with it anymore. The roofs were caving in. I couldn't get up on them even to fix them. Some of the doorways were so low that I really couldn't get anything in, and I was really only in a couple of the lean-tos able to store a corn picker, a corn sheller, and my baler, and that was it. And the rest of it was wasted space. It was just all getting ready to cave in. In fact, part of it did. And so I made the decision then that I needed to do something, and that's when I made plans to build this. So right about here, I'll insert a picture of what this area looked like prior to building this. So when it came time, I have a friend with a excavating business who came up and tore the old buildings down and leveled off the site. And when he did that, because of the way he wanted to contour this, he took the old 2-wire corn cribs out that I really was not using anymore, and they were starting to get in bad shape, and I wouldn't have wanted to put corn in them anymore anyway. So he took them out and shaped all this and really made it nice so that I can even get a tractor trailer in here if I need to and get turned around, which was difficult before, prior to the building of this. So he did all the excavating and tearing down of the old structure, got everything leveled out, and then I hired a company called Federville, which is from out in the eastern part of Pennsylvania, and made a deal with them to build the building itself. It was built in August of 2018. It was completed in 3.5 days, and that includes drilling the holes for all the posts that are in it and everything. From the time they arrived, it was 3.5 days, and that was done by 4 Amish carpenters and 1 10-year-old boy, the son of the crew chief. And it was really a well-oiled machine. And so it didn't take them very long, but I thought they did a really nice job. And right about here, I'm going to include some pictures of what that looked like, just so you get an idea of what it was like during construction. So at this point then, I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to go inside and we'll take a look at what the inside looks like. Okay, anybody who has watched my videos before, well, you've been in the red shed with me, but never from the perspective of, you know, looking at the red shed itself. So that's what we're going to do now, is we're going to go around the inside and let me show you what it's like. So we just came in through the man door, which is on what I call the front of the building. In addition to that, there are two other sliding doors. Here's one right here, and then the other one I have open down there, and we'll take a look at that. These sliders are 16 feet wide and 16 feet tall, and I made them that way so that I could get my combine in. Now, yes, I only have a John Deere 4400, but you know, with this combine, I can get the combine in with any of the heads that I have. Any of the three heads will fit inside through that door on the combine. So that's why I keep them all stored in here. That works out pretty well. But if I ever get a bigger combine someday, then, you know, hopefully 16 feet will be tall enough. So let's take a little walk down this wall. You'll notice now we're getting into the Oliver section, and I have a couple more Oliver tractors that I want to show you. But here's one feature that I like in this building. I refer to it as the Oliver wall. And what I've done here is I've put up different Oliver memorabilia that I have. There are some banners and signs, and you notice that I even have a neon sign there, which I don't have plugged in yet. But in case you can't say it, it says the typical, you know, Oliver, the finest in farm machinery. Okay, and I have some pictures here, one of which my son bought me, and then afterwards I was looking up the artist and I found a couple more, so I bought them as well. So I have some Oliver pictures. I have a couple Oliver calendars. My wife even got this middle sign made for me right here that has the name of the farm, our last name, but of course I have that covered up so that I can, you know, overall remain anonymous. But, you know, lots of signage and calendars and pictures and things like that. One of the things I'm really happy with, I had a few Oliver toys that I wanted to display here, and last winter I built this little display case. It's nothing fancy. I just made it out of some leftover plexiglass that I had, but I didn't want to just have these tractors sitting in here on a shelf because I knew they would get all covered with dust. So I made this little display case to keep them nice and clean. But there's an old model of an Oliver. It's either a 70 or an 80. There's a Super 88 here. And then these came together. This was made up to be I think it was a 1947 Chevy truck with it was delivering, it's like an Oliver delivery truck, and it was made to, it's delivering this Super 77. I like the attention to detail. You notice that they have a scoop on the back of that truck, steering wheel and gear shifter inside, windshield wiper, license plate and exhaust. I mean, it even has chains in the front and the back to hold the tractor on the back of the truck. So this was something that I get a kick out of, and I just wanted to have it displayed up here. So again, this is what I refer to as the Oliver wall. Now, as we get down past the Oliver wall, this is what I refer to as the social center of the red shed, the refrigerator, which is where I keep, as Vice Grip, the guy Derek from Vice Grip Garage would say, the cold snacks, or as Ross the Oliver man says, barley pops. But I keep a variety of beverages in here. I don't make anybody drink anything that they don't want. So I have adult beverages, I have Gatorade, I have pop, I have water, and all my friends know where this is. They know I'm not going to serve them, so they come in and, they choose what they want to drink, and everybody knows where to get it. So that's an important feature. Okay, here's the other 16-foot door. I just left that open, and you can get a nice view of the bank barn out there, which I'll do a video on here sometime in the near future. Okay, so this building is 50 by 70. This wall that we just walked down is one of the 50 feet walls, I'm sorry, 70 feet, the wide dimension. And now we're coming to the corner where we'll hit one of the two 50-foot walls. Now over here, you notice that I have a variety of things. I have sawhorses, my ramps, chains, hand cleaner, some extension cords, and then we get into what my friends refer to as the lubrication center. This is where I try to keep stocked up on oil, especially right now with the supply chain the way it is. I've bought about 30 gallons of diesel oil. Some of that I have over on the other side, but I try to have all that stuff here on hand, including diesel additives. And for my older gas tractors, I have to put a lead substitute in and also an octane booster because the gas is so junky these days. So most of what you're seeing in this area deals with lubrication. I have filters here for everything that I have on the farm, and another box of them over on the other side. And I think I'm good with filters probably for about 2 years. But again, I was worried about the supply chain. Up here, I have some parts. I try to stock up on everything I think I'm going to need or that typically goes bad. So I have a variety of tune-up parts, distributor caps, spark plugs, points, condensers, spark plug wires, coils, air filters, all kinds of things that you need to keep a tractor running well. So all of that is over here on this side. You notice that I forgot to mention this earlier, that once the building was up, I built a series of 3 rows of shelves, the whole 50-foot length on this side, and it didn't take me too long to get them filled up. But as we walk down, you'll see more boxes of parts. Now we're getting into stuff for the baler and for the combine and stuff like that. Okay, and then in here I have some nails and some paint. I have some of my cordless tools here, small torches, some other assorted tools and bolts and stuff, my battery charger, some new mold boards for the plow. And I also have, I'll probably be about 8 or 10 implement tires, brand new ones, because I hate whenever you're in the middle of, whether it's baling hay or whatever you're doing, that a tire blows and then maybe it's dry rotted and needs to be replaced, and then you have to wait for one to come. So this way I have them on hand. Here is my air compressor. I bought this after I bought the building. It's a DeWalt that I got at Tractor Supply, and I really like it because it's big enough to operate my air ratchet and blow up tires, and I can use it to blow chaff out of radiators and stuff like that. But it's small enough that it's mobile. It's on wheels, and it's small enough I can wheel it around wherever I need to take it, so long as I can reach it with an extension cord. Next to that, I have what I jokingly refer to as my charging center, because I do have quite a few cordless devices. So I put all the charges in one place right next to an outlet, and that way I can charge them up as needed. Also in this area, again, are some more battery chargers, some of my items related to fixing tires and air tools. Some more parts. Here you have parts from my white 5100 planter and my Kraus disc and my Kuhn tedder, and items like that. On this middle shelf, I have a complete set of, a big set of taps and dies and, drill bits and a Dremel tool and a corded grinder and drill, and a whole big assortment of drill bits. Again, trying to have everything I need. And, here are more of those tires that I have. I even have an extra set of front tires that will fit on either my 15 or 1650 Olivers. Then here we get into some welding things. Underneath the electrical box, when I wired this, in addition to a normal electrical outlet, I put like a dryer type outlet, and that's where I have 220 coming in, and that's what I use to operate my welder. I have a Lincoln 220 volt welder, a wire feed that uses the flux core wire and no gas. And I have a cord here that I made up years ago for a welder that is about 80 feet long. So I can, I can run this cord out, and I can basically take that welder and weld anywhere within the shop, being that it's 50 by 70 feet long. This is kind of cool. My wife, she's pretty thoughtful and gets me nice Christmas gifts, but she got me this for Christmas this year. It's one of those newer style welding helmets, and it has the battery powered device that makes the shield in front of your eyes clear until you start to weld, and then all of a sudden it becomes dark, and that way you can see what you're welding without having to lift your helmet up or guess on it. So I really like that. And this was my dad's old welding helmet. It's probably 35, 40 years old, and I just keep that around, basically as a family heirloom or a reminder. And then I have an area where I have some nuts and bolts, assorted nuts and bolts and washers and rivets and other smaller items. A few pieces of steel here, and my shop vac and chainsaw. And then here at the end, some inner tubes of various sizes. This is where I keep my chain, and I try to have new chain in most of the sizes and types that I'm going to need on the equipment that I have. I also have an old 5-gallon bucket here with sorry, I had a little glitch with my phone here that I'm using to record this, but anyways, that bucket has some tools for breaking chains and fixing chains, and try to keep all that stuff in one place. If you look back this way, I referred to some of the extra oil I had stockpiled, and I probably have 5 or 6 boxes with 2.5 gallon jugs of the Vertella diesel oil there. Again, worried about the supply chain. And I have some assorted toolboxes here. And finally, here in the end, I have a grain aerator and also a couple rims. These are used rims that'll fit my Oliver, either the 15 or 1650. And they were rims that my friend Joe had gotten for me. They're used, but he went over them and made sure they were good, and they're painted inside and out, and they're ready to go on whenever I need them. One last thing I forgot to mention earlier. Here you can see the ceiling and the trusses and stuff like that. I built this in 2018, but I didn't put lights and electric in it until the January of 2020. Why I waited so long, I don't know. Just didn't get around to it. But anyways, I did this lighting myself too. For a building this size, I was just guessing myself. I figured that 16 LED lights would be enough. So what I did was I set it up as, tried to divide it up pretty evenly. And I have 4 rows, running from, like parallel to the 50-foot sides. And they go, there are 4 rows with 4 lights in each row. And each of these rows, like this one out here or this one, each row is on a separate switch. So I can turn on one row or two rows, or I can turn all four on if I want, and in any combination. And that way I don't have to have them all on at the same time. But it's bright enough that if I close that door right now, it wouldn't make much difference in here. It's plenty bright. And I've had people ask me, being that they're LED, do I have any problem with them in the wintertime? And the answer is no, I haven't. In fact, I've been in here when it's been 0 and below, and the lights come on just the same as they do whenever it's 85 degrees outside in the summer. So I've been really pleased with them. Okay, now we're on the other side again, or just inside the man door. And over on this side, I have a pallet sitting, which is where I keep some jacks and my little hand sprayer and baler twine, which for both the round baler and the square baler. And then next to that is my workbench. This workbench I just got last summer. A friend of mine had it and didn't want it anymore. In fact, he was going to scrap it. I didn't know he had it, but one day in July I was baling hay, and here I see his truck coming out in the fields, because that's what my buddies do when they want to see me and I'm not here at the red shed. They'll drive around the farm until they find me. So here I see him coming out in his white Ford truck, and I saw something on the back, and here he had brought this 6-foot steel table out to me. So when I was done baling hay, we brought that back in, and and within the next few days, I painted it with gray primer, attached it to the wall there, and he even gave me a nice long piece of mine belt, which I cut out, that gives me a nice soft surface on top. Okay, so I have the workbench, my anvil, and then up here and I'm getting nothing, no kind of kickback or anything from Stanley, but I was looking for a light to put above this workbench to be able to light up this area, and one that I wouldn't have difficulty hanging. I didn't want to try to have to stick arms out from the wall and hang one of those long LED lights. And I found this Stanley light at Tractor Supply, and it's really cool because the light itself is movable. You can change the direction. Once you plug it in, it has 4 plugs that you can plug in other devices, and it has 2 USB ports where I can stick the charger for my iPhone. So if I want to charge my iPhone while I'm here, I can do that too. So I really like that. And I have my grinder here on this bench, and also my vise. These are my ratchet wrenches here, some other big ones. And then this is a toolbox that my wife got me for Christmas a couple years ago. She really does get me pretty nice gifts and usable gifts. And, a lot of my tools that I use all the time are located in there. This building is too big for me to heat, at least right now. It's not insulated. There's no ceiling in it. And if I were to try to put some kind of heater in here at this point, I would just lose all that heat. So last year I bought this 180,000 BTU torpedo heater, and I use that to heat the area where I'm working. So even on the really cold days, it's comfortable for me to work. And from my garage, which is located just down the driveway where my house is, I brought up some of the tools that I used to have to keep there and use there until I built this place. And that would include my torches. I have a 20-ton shop press, which comes in handy, and my drill press. And behind the drill press, I put a little shelf, and I have quite a variety of drill bits back there that I can use as needed. And then if we continue back this wall, there isn't really a whole lot else. A ladder, a little rototiller. And then this is a little area, this corner, which is dedicated to my dad, who died 32 years ago this year. But when I was building this building, I wanted to make it as big as I could, and it seemed like for the area I had, 50 by 70 was going to be it. Well, right about where this corner is, my dad used to have a smokehouse, and that was here up until the time I built this building, but it ended up that in order to make the building the size I wanted it, the smokehouse had to go away, and I wasn't happy with that, but in order to contour the ground around the building and everything, I needed that extra space. So I went inside. My dad hadn't been in it in 30 years, but it was kind of like a time capsule in there. There was, he had a little fire pit. He had one piece of log that he didn't split up into firewood that he used as a seat. And then this pan and this axe were hanging in there. He used the axe to split the wood for smoking the meat. And then that pan he used to, as he was smoking the bacon and hams that we used to do, he would cut slices of bacon off and he would fry them right there and eat them. And he really enjoyed that. So when I saw those things in there, I said, that I've got to keep that stuff. So I pulled it out, painted it a little bit to preserve it, and hung it up here. So you might say this corner is dedicated to him. And beside the frying pan, you see an old hay hook with a piece of angle iron attached to it. That was something that my dad made because when we were butchering pigs, we used to let them get to close to 500 pounds because we liked the big thick bacon and big hams and big pork chops and everything. And when you butchered them yourself, once you killed them, they were difficult to drag. So we made this hook so that we could stick that in the lower jaw after we shot and stuck the pig. And then the angle iron was welded on to allow two men to be able to drag it, because pigs of that size would be, virtually impossible to do by yourself. So this is a corner of the red shed that, again, is dedicated to my dad in his memory. And that's pretty much it. The back wall, I really didn't do anything with it yet. There's nothing hanging on it. I thought about maybe at some point putting shelves back here too. But if I pan across this way, you can see the sea of equipment that's in here. It's like Oliver 66 Farm Boy says, when you go to take something out from the back, it's kind of like playing Tetris. But in spite of that, it's really nice having somewhere like this to be able to get everything inside and have a nice dry place to work. I used to have to lay out in the snow in the wintertime to get underneath equipment to work on it. Now I can, work on it in here, have the torpedo heater on, and it works out real well. So I think that's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, please put that in the comments section. I hope that you'll subscribe if you already haven't, and I hope that if you enjoyed this video that you'll hit the like button. And I think that's going to be it. So at this point, this is Charlie, the PA grain farmer, saying, see you next time.